What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Michael here and welcome back to Fudge Muppet. Today I've got a dope Fallout 4 video for you, one that many of you have been asking for and I know many of you will love. This video is 5 hidden enemies in Fallout 4, one of which I didn't even know about until further exploring the Commonwealth myself last week. Tell me in the comments below if you've discovered all 5 of these enemies during your playthrough, and with that said, let's get into it. Diving in at spot number 1, we've got Grun. Grun is a full-on super mutant behemoth, but instead of finding him outside in the ravaged wasteland, you find him indoors. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think this makes him a lot more intimidating, as you can always run away from a behemoth outdoors. Indoors is another story. Grun was the leader of a group of super mutants who he originally led to Far Harbor, and together they created a base in the Vim Pop factory. So for those of you who don't know where this is, it's actually on Far Harbor, so you'll need that DLC to find him. Grun and the super mutants were operating smoothly at the factory until one of his fellow mutants, named Erickson, started to question what they were doing there. As you'd expect, what they were doing wasn't very kind. Perhaps Erickson drank too much Vim and it refreshed his human sense of morality from deep down. I'm not sure, but all this resulted in death threats against Erickson and Grun attacking him. Erickson locked Grun in the storage area of the factory, trapping him there. You can actually find Erickson yourself in the DLC. When you go find Grun, he's pretty pissed, as you'd imagine, and despite originally being the leader of the super mutants, they'll turn hostile towards him, and as a result, he will be hostile to everyone. Overall, it's a great mini-boss battle, and I like to think of it as the Fallout equivalent to discovering a dragon in Blackreach within Skyrim. Next up, we've got a little Easter egg that references the Roach King from Fallout 3. This hidden enemy is called Reggie Blateria. Reggie is actually found in the ruins of a bombed building in a low-level area of the game. It's west of the Corvega assembly plant. The catch here is that you won't actually find him there until you're a high enough level. There will simply be rad roaches on the walls and on the floor, but no Reggie in sight. The actual level isn't specified properly and is reported differently by a wide group of sources. However, based on anecdotal evidence, most people seem to agree that Reggie will appear at about level 35. Reggie has an army of rad roaches to help him defeat you, and do be careful because he's actually quite powerful, as is anyone with a Gatling laser in their hands. So make sure you don't get caught in the open. He can also be found holding a minigun or another legendary item, so it's a bit of a lucky dip with this man, or insect. Funnily enough, when you use the intimidation perk on him, the sole survivor actually says, "Don't move, Roach," which is a nice little touch of detail I really appreciate. The Latin roots of his name roughly translate to King Roach, and there's even a toy rocket nearby that is reminiscent of the Roach King's throne. That all said, the dead giveaway is his editor ID, which reads POI Roach King. The third hidden enemy on this list is massive, crazy, and super memorable, and it's more well known compared to the first 2 enemies on our list. In the number 3 position, which isn't really a position because this list isn't actually ranked, is Swan. Swan is an enemy that most of us are familiar with, however there's still much about him that isn't really discussed. Originally as a human named Edgar Swan, he was caught stealing cigarettes and placed under house arrest for 30 days. Here he was unknowingly exposed to an experimental version of the forced evolutionary virus by pre-war CIT scientists. As you'd expect, he began to have seizures, his intelligence decreased, and he was ready to mutate. It is thought that he escaped when the bombs fell and made himself at home in Boston Common, eventually becoming the psychopathic monster armored by a torn-up plastic swan boat you see today. He hides submerged in the pond, and when you go up to him, he'll spring out of the water and start attacking you. It's quite the surprise. What many people don't know is that around 1 AM and 5 AM in the morning, Swan actually isn't submerged. You can find him wandering the edges of the pond, fully visible and ready to smash. Smash in a violent, not a fun experience kind of way, of course. Besides the Swan boat makeshift armor, Swan also wields an anchor as his hammer and has a boat mounted on his left arm, which can be used as a shield and a bashing weapon. Enjoy the furious power fist you'll also loot off his corpse, and try not to die. Next up, we've got a simple but unique enemy hidden away in Fraternal Post 115. In one of the funnier moments of Fallout 4, you can come across a blind super mutant known as Deadeye, who has a bandage wrapped around his head and over his eyes. He stands upon a stage, peacefully listening to Diamond City Radio. It's quite a random sight, but a fun one nonetheless. Now, while he's blind, he can still hear you, so if you make noise in the building, there's a chance he'll shout out, "Not yours, thief." If you get too close to him or set off the frag mines nearby, then he'll definitely set off an alarm which spawns hostile super mutants, so watch your step. Deadeye is a funny encounter and definitely worth checking out. Whether he is truly blind or just can't see because there's a bandage over his eyes will forever remain a mystery. And lastly, we have the fifth and final hidden enemy on the list, the Rogue Knight. This is one you'll need the Nuka World DLC for, and at that, you'll need to be smashing through the Amoral Combat repeatable quest, which is basically what happens when another combatant makes its way through the gauntlet and must face you, the overboss. The final challenger you face is this Rogue Knight, who was a member of the East Coast Brotherhood before going rogue. His real name is unknown, but what is known is that he wants to give you one hell of a battle. Funnily enough, if you're a member of the Brotherhood of Steel, he won't actually be hostile, and don't worry, if you kill him, your status with the Brotherhood of Steel won't be affected at all. A main thing about this hidden enemy that is super important is that he actually carries one of the most powerful weapons in the entire game, the legendary Gatling laser known as Eternus. This Gatling laser has the never-ending effect, but unlike other weapons with this effect, it doesn't just let you never reload. It actually gives you unlimited ammo too, so you can just keep firing forever, and it will only use a portion of your fusion core and then stop using it entirely. This is the perfect weapon for any Brotherhood of Steel build, although that's as long as you're happy becoming the overboss of a group of ferocious raiders. Thank you so much for watching this video about 5 hidden enemies in Fallout 4. We really appreciate your support, and we'd love to hear if you want more Fallout videos like this one on Fudge Muppet. Subscribe if you like what we do, and we'll definitely give you more. Our social media links are in the description. My name is Michael, and I look forward to nerding out with you again very soon.